Welcome to the P.T.S.D. podcast with your host, comedian and military veteran, Bernard the Laugh Therapist Hines, where we discuss P.T.S.D., processing traumatic situations differently, and give you tools to help you overcome the stigma of seeking help. If you're ready to be inspired, then welcome to the Stigma-Free Zone. Here's your host, the Laugh Therapist himself, Bernard Hines.
What up, good people? What up, good people? It's your boy, Bernard Hines, a.k.a. the Laugh Therapist, and welcome to the P.T.S.D. Processing Traumatic Situation Differently podcast. Here, we try to inform, enlighten, and become advocates for one another as we learn more productive ways to process our trauma. Always remember, as a therapist, I'm not licensed, I'm just certified. Welcome to the Stigma-Free Zone. What up, everybody? Thank y'all for being here today. Thank you for being here today, tonight, this evening, wherever you are viewing this podcast, wherever you are listening to this podcast. I want to thank you for being here today. Listen, before we go any further, I have a new sponsor. Yes, we have a new sponsor, Ophelia's Razzle Dazzle Creole Seasoning, y'all. Ophelia's Razzle Dazzle Creole Seasoning. And right now, we're going to take a listen to our new sponsor.
P.T.S.D. podcast is sponsored by Ophelia's Creole Razzle Dazzle Season. When they ask you what you're seasoning with, you tell them it's Ophelia's Creole Razzle Dazzle Seasoning. Available in spicy and original. Get yours at RebeccaBrumfield.com.
Thank you, Miss Rebecca. Thank you, Miss Rebecca. Miss Rebecca with a K, y'all. Please go and check out those spices. Please go and check them out. But right now, y'all, we're going to jump right into my interview today. I have a lovely, lovely young lady, a good friend of mine who we have met on social media, but this is the first time seeing each other face to face on the video. Come on, y'all, put your hands together for Dr. Nina Copeland. What up, Miss Nina? What up, Miss Nina? You are muted. You are muted. You are muted. Don't worry about it. It's okay. It's okay. How are you doing today?
I am doing wonderful. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having your audio is good. Your video is good. This is, oh my goodness, for all the people who are listening to this just on the podcast, if you go to my website, www.thelaughTherapist.com, you can also see the video portion of this too. So listen, this is what we're going to do today. Thank you for being in the stigma-free zone right now. There is no stigma. There is no condemnation. We are here to free people, and I know this interview is going to be powerful. So first of all, thank you for being here.
Yes.
Listen, I want to jump right on into it right now. So tell us a little bit about you before we get into the deep stuff about you, because first I'm going to say you're an author, a speaker, and a transformational coach. But in all of that, who is Miss Nina Copeland? Dr. Nina Copeland, excuse me.
Thank you. So born and raised Montgomery, Alabama. I have spent over 21 years in the military, and I just recently retired, so I'm excited about that.
All right.
Yes, I'm a mom of 3 and married, and I live currently in Colonial Heights, Virginia.
All right. That's awesome. Listen, congratulations on your retirement. Thank you, as we all have to say, thank you for your service. But yes, really, thank you. 21 years. There's nothing wrong with that. That's right. So right now, I want you to tell us a little bit about your military background.
So I was a ordnance officer. That's my heart.
Okay.
And I was a logistics officer. So that's what I've done over the last 21 years, is done logistics operations in the military. So I've served in different capacities, from being a company commander, an instructor. I did that for a long time. I've done like brigade S4 type jobs. So all the logistical things, I pretty much had my hand in it.
Wow. Did you do any deploying while you was in military?
I did. So I deployed to Talia, Iraq, in I think that was 2010.
All right. Wow. Well, people know if you deploy it, anywhere that you leave is a blessing to come back. It's a blessing come back. And I know when a person is transitioning from the military, how's your transitioning going?
So it has been interesting.
Okay.
So just transition. I think the biggest part was just that self-identity piece, right? Like you're transitioning out. You always had this identity. You had this rank. You had this title. You had this power. You had all these things. And so to transition out, it's like, so where's the rank? Where's the title? Like we're so accustomed to those things. But to transition out, I found it hard at first when I was like planning for it and having to get out. I was like, wait, but who am I? So I had this whole process of just rediscovering who I am, which is like the foundation of the things that I am doing today in terms of transformational coaching, because I understand the importance of shifting your mindset, because that transition requires you to shift your mindset. You no longer have to wake up early in the morning. No one is telling you or mandating you to do all those things. And while that is good, when you're over here on the other side and you don't, and no one is asking you to do, you have to be a self-driven person. Because if you're not self-driven, you're not going to accomplish the things you want to do. So the military has equipped us and prepared us to do some amazing things. But on the outside in the civilian world,
come on now,
sometimes those things just doesn't equate. Right.
Come on now. So what I heard in my little finite mind is transitioning off and coming you had some anxiety with that.
Oh, absolutely.
Wow.
A whole bunch. A whole bunch of anxiety,
Okay.
anxiousness about, like what's next and how am I going to pay my bills? And even though you get the retirement and you get all these things, right? It's just like,
it's like starting over.
How are things basically, and that's what we're doing.
Correct.
So you're starting over in the civilian world and you're not at the top where you were. Like, you've been, well, for me, I was a major. So I've been like, bam, at the top. And now I'm like trying to find my way and start over and do all the, basically just trying to find my way into, I think that was the hard part. That was the cause of the anxiousness of finding my way and finding what it is I wanted to do. So I knew that I wanted to start my own business. I majored in social work in college. That is my passion. That is my heart. And although I've done logistics over the years, I just reverted back to the thing that makes me happy if money is not an option. And that is helping people to transform their mindsets, come out of adverse situations.
Come on now.
And pursue your passion. And just because you started in one environment doesn't mean that you necessarily have to that's going to be a representation of who you are in your future.
Wow. I love that you said start doing something that if money wasn't the issue, you would still something like that. Hopefully I'm saying it right.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, y'all got to excuse this mind sometimes. But that's powerful right there. That's powerful right there. You went back and found your passion. So you found your passion. So the question I was going to ask you was what sent you to this path for transitional coaching? But I see the anxiety, the getting out. How did you come up with wanting to be a transitional coach?
So the main thing is that I experienced my own trauma, my own adverse situations, and that kind of catapulted me to wanting to help other people who were suffering in silence, number one. And two, although, the stigma this is a stigma-free zone, a lot of people are still suffering in silence and battling with these mental health issues. And so they're suffering. And although, what I learned is that you can go to counseling and you can do all the things, but when you come out of that, it's like, where do I go from here?
Yes.
And so that's what I personally experienced. I went, I was seeing all the people. And then when I was healed and I was like, okay, I'm ready to release the situation, release the trauma and all the adverse experiences that I was dealing with. When I was ready to release, I was like, well, what's next? I didn't know what to do next. And so I was like, and that's what I want to help people with.
Come on now.
Piece right there to get them over the hump to say, okay, and this is what you want. This is who you are. This is what you want to do. Go do that. But sometimes people just need that little help to say, okay, I've gone through this landmine. I'm trying to rediscover who I am, my purpose and my passion. And that's what I want to help people to do.
Wow. And that's what you are currently doing. And I like it because you are the epitome of this podcast. You're processing your traumatic situations differently. You know what I'm saying? You could have been, woe is me. You could have been, but you said, no, I'm going to turn all I got, all that happened, all that did that into something positive, and I'm gonna do it differently. And you are doing it through transformational coaching. Transformational coaching. Okay. And that is great. So in that, what do you have clients? Do you have people you see? Do you have people reach out to you through social media? How are you finding these people?
So people are reaching out through social media, and I have been hosting different events like leadership classes and different forums, and that's how I am connecting with other people.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So what has been one of the biggest challenges you have faced lately or just faced recently?
Oh, that's real easy.
Okay.
Is getting out of my own way.
Beep, beep. Beep, beep.
Yeah.
Beep, beep.
That is the biggest thing every day, is to get out of my own way, get out of my head, letting go of those negative thoughts that comes to really just take you out.
Right.
They come into your mind to tell you that you're not worthy, you're not enough, you can't do it, it shouldn't be you. And that's a whole mental battle that you're like literally fighting every day. And I've been sitting here with this book, Worthy, because I just have to remind myself that I'm worthy. Like, I don't need nobody else's opinion to tell me, I'm not waiting on someone else to tell me that I'm worthy. I know that I'm worthy. And with worthy, go and do the things that I want to do. Like, just go do them, but stop, like how you always, like, you can just say, oh, well, I'm not going to do that because I don't know if this person's going to like it or what they're going to say. Oh, I'm afraid to go start the business because I don't know if it's going to work. You never know if you never start it. And you may start it and may end up going into a whole different area that you didn't even see, but you'll never know if you don't take the steps, right?
Come on, you got me on the couch. I'm glad I'm off now, but you got me on the couch because this podcast was supposed to start a long time ago, but I was worried about what folks gonna say if I'm talking to who am I gonna get people to do it? Are they gonna? Because I don't care what you do, somebody gonna have something to say. And you got to stop worrying about. Is a gentleman named Raymond Bonds, my dude. He says them, those, and they don't matter. You gonna always have a them. You gonna always have a those, and you gonna always have a they.
Yes.
And you got to continue to go forward and do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the same thing here. Like, oh, am I going to get people? Is it ever going to get off the ground? And I'm like, but I know people need my service. For an example, I was speaking to a young lady who's in the military now.
Okay.
And I shared my experience with her, and she just paused and said, thank you so much for sharing, because I'm battling the same thing.
You never know who's battling. You never know who's battling if you don't start, if you don't do it. But this is what I share with people, and what you have done and what I have done. We have done the work to get us to our place.
Right.
So before we just out here sharing, because we could be sharing and cutting at the same time, sharing and cutting at the same time, because we ain't healed. Sharing and cutting at the same time.
Yes.
Hurt people. Yes. And that is powerful. That is powerful, because in your speaking, okay, you got 3 speaking topics. I'm sure you have more, but you got 3 that I took away. But I want to talk about the one that asks about transforming your mindset. And I'm saying, and right now, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna have to send you a copay, because I want to listen to this, because I be transforming my mind all the John Brown time, because you start thinking about your failures more than the positive. You start thinking about what you didn't do more than what you have done. But I'm gonna sit back and get on the couch. And if you listen to this, long as you ain't driving, But if you not driving, get on the couch somewhere and just listen, because I believe this gonna be good. Come on, Doc.
So transforming your mindset is everything.
Okay.
Right? If you have a poor mindset, Your actions are going to be poor. Your
Mm-hmm.
behavior is poor. Everything is poor.
Okay.
So you have this negative mindset, but you want the extreme success.
Mm.
That's probably an unrealistic expectation.
Mm.
Not going to happen.
Okay.
Right? You have to identify what's going on in your mind. What's that battle?
Right.
Like that's that thing that always come to your mind. Like for me, just to give an example, I was having this thought and I kept saying, it's that thing. It's that
Mm-hmm.
thing right there. And so I had to change that thing that was trying to comparison, the spirit of comparison. It was
Mm.
like, oh,
Mm.
you need to compare yourself. I was comparing myself, and it was like, well, no. Cut that out. Shh, just cut it, cut it out. Stop comparing yourself, but you have to identify what is going on in your mind and how to transform those negative thoughts into positive thoughts
Mm-hmm.
so that you can face forward. Because if not, what's happening is that you're turning back and then you're doing this and you're like bumping and bumping,
Mm.
bumping, and you're not going anywhere. So to transform your mindset, you have to be able to shift.
Okay.
You have to shift and you have to think on the things that are positive, that will equate to positive thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
actions, and behaviors so that
Mm.
you can live the life that you want to live.
Doc, it's powerful what I'm hearing you saying because as I tell people, I hear you saying you, the person, me, you, we have to make up in our mind what we want to do.
That is true.
People can want it for us so much. But if we don't want it, if we got negative talk, if we ain't talking, we're going to ruin it.
Right. Right. And again, you're not going anywhere because you're still focusing on what's behind you
Mm-hmm.
and you're not moving. You're constantly at these roadblocks and you wondering, like, oh, why can't I move forward? It's because you're thinking the same way, you're doing the same thing, and
Mm.
you're not going to go anywhere because you haven't transformed. You haven't done the work. You have to do the work. You have to do the inner work. And I tell people all the time, you have to realize what's inside of you, what's
Mm.
laying dormant inside of you that you need to awaken because that is your power. When
Mm-hmm.
you realize the power that you have inside of you, that is not the same power that you have as a title.
Come on now. Ooh.
That's not the same.
Okay.
Right? Because when that title is gone, you still have to know who you are and that power that's within you that's going to take you higher and that's going to propel you to what you want to achieve in life.
And that happens a lot to military people once they get out and they're no longer Sarge. They no longer, major or in charge. And then
Right,
they go work for the government. So they still think they're in the military. And I'm like, let me tell you
right,
something. I ain't in the
right,
military no more. You better go on now.
right.
Yeah.
They have to get that good government job. And there's nothing wrong with it.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with it. No,
She's on.
no. I
But
left mine though.
right, you just have to know what it is that, again, what it is that you want to do. And a lot of it boils down to your self-identity.
Okay.
And what we don't realize with self-identity is that it can become engrossed with your job, your title, your professional affiliations. And so you
Mm-hmm.
lose who you are and you don't know who you are.
Mm.
And I help people to strip all those things away, your title, your family dynamics, your professional affiliations, your job. Sit with yourself. Who are you?
Wow. And sometimes that can take time.
Oh, yes.
And that's okay, people. It can take time because one thing what I just tell folks is some people when they would go to therapy, they wanted to go to therapy one time and be fixed the next day.
Right.
Hey, no, slow it down, pump your brakes.
Right.
Pump your brakes. She didn't do nothing, they didn't do nothing. Nope, pump your brakes. I went and talked to Dr. Copeland and the next day pump your brakes. It's a process.
It is.
It is a process. Listen, y'all, we sitting here, we talking to Dr. Copeland, y'all. She's sitting here dropping these nuggets. You got to listen. You got to take time. You might have listened to this over and over again, but what are some of the things you have overcome in your life to get to where you are? Well, I know, first of all, you said you grew up in Alabama, so.
So, yes, I did grow up, born and raised.
Oh, let me stop. I'm just messing with you, Doc. I'm just messing with you, Doc.
Roll Tide.
I've been to Montgomery. I've been down there. Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
So I would say the biggest thing was childhood trauma. Physical and emotional abuse, and I think that, so now this is a good nugget. And so when you become an adult, you start wondering, like, why do I do these things? Why do I act the way I act?
Come on, Doc.
And a lot of it just goes back to your childhood trauma, the things that you experienced as a child, and then in the Black community, you were silent about everything in our upcoming. You don't talk about it. If someone was doing something, you just brushed it off. You didn't get any mental health treatment. You didn't do anything. So now you become an adult and you realize, like, oh, well, what's that thing? And now you're struggling with that. So having to overcome that childhood trauma it has been a challenge. It was difficult.
And see, when we get to that childhood trauma and stuff like that, people, and then we get to adults and we start acting out. People like, what's wrong with you? Let's get to the point where we saying, what happened to you?
Right.
What? Because something happened to make me as a man felt like I need to be with every woman in the world.
Right. Right.
What happened in my life that I needed that much love? So that is good that because I'm sure everything is a work in progress, and even in what we're going through and what we have done, we're still helping others.
Yes.
We never stop. We still helping others. Wow. Yeah. You have a favorite quote that I got off your website. If you're going to talk the talk, then you have to walk the walk.
Right. And that's just
explain that to me. Explain that one to me.
Your audio must match your video. Period.
Okay.
Your audio must match your video. Your actions must match what you're doing. Again, like I said earlier, like you want to be this person, you want to be affluent, you want to be wealthy, but your habits say you don't.
Come on now.
So it's just that simple. Make sure your audio matches your video.
That is good.
And that means stop putting on facades.
Yes.
Basically.
Yes. Because one of the main things you say that goes with this is comparison. I believe there's a lot of people, and I was one of them at a time, that was so depressed because we're comparing ourselves.
Right.
And as a comedian, it's one of the biggest ones because why they getting booked? Why they doing this? Why they on this show? Why that spirit of comparison is
something. It's a killer.
Oh my goodness.
It's a joy killer.
Joy killer and the creativity killer, because you ain't using your creativity. You trying to create what somebody else is doing. And you don't know.
And not being the original.
Not being the original. Not being the I mean, it would be sometime I would do a powerful speaking, or I would speak to someone and give them powerful nuggets, and I get back my wife, she was like, why you ain't doing what you telling them?
Ooh.
She would just hit me, and I was like, good gracious, because as you said, if you're going to talk the talk, then walk the walk. That is good. That is good. Listen, y'all, we're sitting here. We are talking to Dr. Nina Copeland, y'all. She's a coaching and counseling, a consultant. She does it all. 21 years in the United States. Army. Y'all don't know nothing about that. Y'all don't know nothing about that. Y'all don't know nothing about that. I got another question. Besides me, who is the one other person that you really admire?
The one other person I really admire.
Really admire.
My grandfather.
Okay.
Yeah, I probably say my grandparents. Again, so like I said, I had the childhood trauma, but they were like there in my mind. Like they were just in my head. They were making sure I stayed on the right path. I didn't go astray. And it was like, we know this is hard for you, but you just have to endure to the end. And when you are done with this and you're out of the house, you have to make the right decisions. And so they were just on me the whole way, and they never let up on me. I mean, so I was the kid that never went outside to play because I had to listen to a speech and I had to come up with an A plan, a B plan, and a C plan. And I'm like, can I go outside and play with the rest of the kids? Because they're
Right.
outside. But I was the one child who was inside and having to write things down. And at the time, I was upset. But now, today, I look back and it's like, okay, I understood.
Right.
I understand why.
Wow. You're a survivor.
Yeah, I
You,
am.
you are a survivor. Yeah, and that is positive. That is positive. So being in the military, I know you went, what college did you attend?
Alabama A&M University in Huntsville, Alabama.
Okay, Alabama A&M. And then when you came out, did you come out on did you go through ROTC in
I did.
school?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
And
So I went through ROTC.
okay. And did you think about any other branch, or it was just gonna be the Army?
So I just thought of the Army. Again, I was a broke college student. And I was like, I need to make a way for myself. So I joined the Army. But here's the only one thing: if I had to go back and do anything again,
Okay.
I would have waited and pursued my master's degree in social work so that I could have done social work in the Army. That's
Oh,
the
man.
only one thing that I wish I could
Okay.
have done differently. And that was part of the reason why I joined, because I was like, oh, I could do social work in the Army. But by that time, I had been assessed, and I had been assessed as an ordnance officer. And once I, started trying to climb the ladder, I just didn't not waste my time, but a lot was going on. The war had kicked off, and started having kids and all those things. So I just did not proceed with going back to get my master's in social work.
Wow. Well, look at you now.
Look at me now.
Look at me now. Look at me now. So listen, you have something coming up in October. Okay,
Yeah.
I know. Yes, it's called I Am Bold.
I Am Bold.
Okay, but you got the B.O.L.D. Could you break that down to me and explain what this conference is, or if it is a conference? Is it a conference?
It is a conference.
Okay, explain to me what this conference is going to be for anybody who would like to participate or find out where this beautiful conference is going to be.
Awesome. So it is a Women Empowerment Summit. And the basis for this is for professionals, for leaders, ministry leaders, and for those aspiring entrepreneurs who are just looking for empowerment, being around like-minded people who are going to encourage you and help you to move forward. So first I want to just start by telling you what this bold.
Yeah. Tell me what that bold means.
So remember, I was dealing with the anxiousness, and I also battled with some depression. And so these are like the 4 things that I needed to do while I was dealing with adversity.
Okay.
And I realized in order to come out of that adversity, I had to do it. And no one else was going to pull me out.
Okay.
I had to do the work, and that I had to be bold in doing so. I had to be bold in moving in ambiguity. I had to be bold and maneuver through adversity. I had to be bold, right?
Okay. Right.
And so the B stands for believing in yourself and refusing to doubt. Just believing you.
Okay.
And the O is to optimize this is my favorite part. The O is to optimize your current situation and seek advancement. And that
hold on. Tell me, please. Hold. Say that again.
Optimize your current situation and seek advancement. So you have to look at, where am I right now? What is it that I need to change so that I can come out of this situation? What am I responsible for? What can I do? How can I advance out of this? So how can I transition out of the military? Like, how can I do that? Okay, so I had to go back and again, I had to rediscover who I was. I had to look at my gifts and my talents. How can I advance from here? Well, I started a business.
Got it.
So just optimizing your situation. It's just like you doing that assessment, right? Where am I and where I want to go?
Okay.
And coming up with a plan to do so.
And you know what? You said a key word, every time you start somewhere, every time say you go to somewhere, you got to get an assessment.
Yeah.
So you got to assess where you are so you can find out where you want to go.
Exactly. And
That's
if
good.
you're moving without an assessment, how are you making decisions with no information?
Wow.
How are you doing that?
So give me the L now. Give me the L. Give
So
me the L.
the L is to liberate yourself from self-limiting beliefs.
I'm on the couch again.
On the couch, you have to release it. Again, you have to cut it. You got to cut it out. You got to cut it. You got to cut it. Yeah, you got to cut it.
Okay. And I know somebody said, it's not as easy. I'm not saying it's easy.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody said it's easy, but it's worth it.
Yes.
All right. Now give me that last one. Give me that D. Give me that D. Give me the bold.
Dare to be different. Yeah. Dare to be different.
See, now you don't put that back into the talk, then you have to walk the walk. Because sometimes when you walking alone by yourself.
Right.
And you got to be different.
And you have to be different. And don't succumb to the norms. It's so easy to succumb to the norm and just to fit in. But your uniqueness, allow your uniqueness to make room for you.
That was one of the main stumbling blocks for me, because going forward and speaking more and talking more, I was like, but I'm not licensed. And God said, did I tell you to be licensed?
Right.
I just told you to do what I told you to do.
Right.
Now, I've learned being licensed. I don't really want to be licensed, because certain things being licensed you can't say, you can't do.
Right.
And see, I'd probably be in jail. So
you need to cut that out.
Yeah. So my talks is raw and unfiltered, but I am certified with the state of Virginia as a peer recovery specialist. I do have ethics. I do have that, but just certain things that I know. Wow. So tell us more about this conference. When is it, and where is it located?
So it's October the 5th. It's going to be at Tustin Elementary School in Colonial Heights, Virginia. And we have dynamic speakers who are coming in. So we have like 3 keynote speakers. And one of the keynote speakers, Wayna, she's a Grammy Award winner singer. So she's coming in from Maryland.
Okay.
And I have my mentor who's coming in from Wisconsin. She's and I met her through, I think it's the Army ACP program.
Mm-hmm.
But like, how dynamic is that for the mentor to fly in from Wisconsin?
Correct.
Just to be a part of this event.
Wow.
So I am definitely thankful. And also, I haven't really put this out, but I'll put it out here.
On the P.T.S.D. podcast, we breaking cutting edge.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. Shh. Can't tell nobody breaking news.
We're going to have a men's panel during this conference.
What?
On shifting perspectives, because women have a perspective and men have a perspective, but we want to hear from the men.
Yes.
Hear their perspective on how they see us as women in different areas, because perspectives from the 1990s,
That's right.
1970s are not the same as 2024,
nope.
Right? And we have all these perspectives, and they are just affecting the family dynamics, because we think, oh, the man need to be the head.
Come on now.
The head. And if the woman is the head, then she this, that, and the other. Like, how are we battling these perspectives?
Right. And I just want to let y'all know, I was supposed to be on that panel, but I have something to do on that day, and I was like, my goodness.
No.
My goodness. But hey, it is still good to meet you, talk to you. You have a lot going on. Now, you are author, correct?
Yes.
And tell us about your book.
So I have been featured in 3 anthologies.
Okay.
And so mainly I just talked about like being in the valley. That was one of my books I talked about, being in a valley situation and how do you come out?
Okay.
And, the Lord wants us to be in the valley situation because that's where he meets us at, right? He meets us in the valley situation. And sometimes we think, the line is supposed to be straight, but sometimes you got to dip so that you can miss some of the things that are coming to take you out. So you got to go low so it don't miss you. But a lot of people think like, oh, when I'm going down, like you falling down. No, you're just down for a moment and for a season, but it's not forever and always.
That's good.
Yeah.
I notice a lot just by talking to you in this little bit of time. You have a thing about coming out. Let's come out of, like you said, what you went through with your childhood, but you came out and you still going forward. Yeah. And I guarantee you in your speaking and when you're talking, you have a come out. Look, let's come out from this.
Let's come out. So I said, if I start a podcast, it would be, sis, come out. Like, come out of there. Come out of there. And also, I want to say one more thing. I do have a 21-day transformational journal.
Okay.
That was written by yours truly.
Okay, good. And how can people get that from your website? We're gonna get all the information out lately
on my website. Yes.
Okay, we're gonna give all that information out later. But going back to one more question, how has your faith impacted you and helped you through this journey?
Oh, it has been everything. Just to depend on my faith. It has brought me out of all of my negative situations, all of them. Correct. And my last adverse situation that I had to endure, it was like I was trying to fight the thing and just fight it. And it was like I was driving in my car and the Holy Spirit was like, you're in that situation and you're feeling the way you're feeling because of the way you think. And so transforming your thoughts, right? Transforming your mind. It was like you're responsible for this mess that you're in because of the way you're thinking. I'm trying to take you one way, but you want to continue focusing on what's behind because you want what's familiar, basically. Okay. And I did want everything that was familiar.
Right.
That was easy. That was my comfort zone. That's all I've known. So I wanted everything that was familiar. And he was like, no, but I have something else. I'm trying to get you to another place. But your faith, your faith, you don't have it right now. You don't have it. And I can remember that day just as clearly.
Correct.
Having that conversation in the car. And I can remember walking up my stairs saying, God, I don't know what it's going to be like. And I don't know how I'm going to pay my mortgage. And I don't know all these things. But I'm going to release it today. I'm going to release the people. And I release the situation. And I'm going to be done with it. And it was like, he was just waiting on me to do that. He was just waiting on me to release it. As soon as I released the situation, things just started happening for me.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
He have it just like this. He's telling you, just release what you go. Just release it. And soon you release it.
Let it go. Let it go.
Wow. That's good. Listen, y'all, we have been talking to Dr. Nina Copeland. She's doing some great things, y'all. She's doing some great things. Now, how can people find you on social media and your website?
Awesome. So you can find me at Dr. Nina Copeland on Facebook and on Instagram as well. You can also find me on my page, I Am Bold Women Empowerment Summit, and my website is drninacopeland.com.
drninacopeland.com.
Yes.
That's Dr. DrNinaCopeland for those who are listening. Dr. Nina Copeland. You can also go to my website, www.thelaughTherapist.com, and you will be able to see or you'll be able to hear this podcast, and we are on all podcast platforms. Thank you, Doc. But before you leave from the stigma-free zone, I got to ask you this one question, or I got to give you a chance to give advice to someone who is stuck, someone who feel like they can't go forward, someone who feel like I done listened to y'all, I done heard y'all, but I feel like that's for everybody else. This ain't for me. How can I get out?
Well, the first thing is this. When you are ready to come out,
okay,
you will come out. When you're ready. right? And I say when you're ready, because sometimes you're ready could be a week ready. It can be 6 months ready. It can be 3 years ready. When you're ready for change in your life, you would start taking the action. But if you're not ready and everyone else is pressuring you to take the action, then it's not going to have the same effect. So when you're ready, you will come out. And when you come out, the first thing I want you to do is rediscover who you are in this season. Now, who you thought you wanted to be, whatever you aspired to be, but based on your current situation in your environment, like the Army, right? Your current situation in your environment, who are you today? Like, find yourself, rediscover your purpose, rediscover your passion.
Okay.
What is it that you want to do? And do those things without comparing yourself to someone else or worrying about validation for anyone else. You know, you may come out and you may not have those same friends anymore. That's okay. That's okay. That just means that you're being cleansed. The road is being swept off, and you don't need those same people anymore.
That's right.
You go discover and find your new friend, your new tribe.
Wow. Thank you, Doc. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure talking to you. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Once again, give folks the information how they can follow you and find out about the I Am Bold conference on October the 5th.
Yeah, so you can find out about the conference at I Am Bold Women Empowerment Summit. I would love to have you. We are looking for vendors, and also we have some sponsorship opportunities available as well. And you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Dr. Nina Copeland. Thank you. And thank you so much for your time.
No, you're welcome, Doc. Thank you. And right now, you're released from the stigma-free zone.
Yay. Thank you.